There's a young woman who made a video that seems to me to be maybe an argument for arranged marriages. Pause, wait, I'm not asking for the return of those. I said an argument for arranged marriages because there is an argument for them. Crazy as it seems, they actually sometimes last longer. In some cultures, they do last longer. There's wisdom parents have and grandparents. So we'll get to this lady's video, but let's have a bit of an intro into something that's spreading the country, and it is decisions to date or to have friendships or even continue family relationships based upon what are sometimes called political lines. They're really cultural lines. They're not political. The government has entered all portions of society, therefore things that shouldn't be political are. But this woman is informing a bunch of men that she is off the market, baby.
Reminder, as a white American woman, I will no longer be dating white men. I'm looking for anything other than a white man, okay? Just a heads up.
I'm sure that's important information for everyone to behold and to take into consideration. And if you are sitting there heartbroken, I want to be just apologetic for being the one to deliver that news to you. Anything other than a white man. Because all white men, of course, are orange, Hitler personified, and don't have any good qualities because you disagree on a solution during a time where we have two parties. That's classic. That's smart thinking. Now, this other young woman likes to cuss. And it's very, very attractive to most men, really enjoy people who cuss. And I think most women like men who cuss a lot. I think it's attractive. It shows intelligence, caring, empathy. It's a thing that's used often to attract the opposite sex. I know this because on first dates, a lot of people just cuss all the time, or maybe not. So I'll show you this young woman and then make this argument that I think she might be an indicator that there are advantages to arranged marriages. Not that that wouldn't cause a lot of warfare in hearts and minds. I think it would. And warfare is part of the human condition. My friend Tim Cruikshanks, founder and CEO of Bone Frog Coffee, he went to war 3 times on our behalf as a medic attached to the SEAL teams. He's seen the worst of it. He's also seen the best of it, the best of teams. That's why every bag of Bone Frog says on it, God, country, team. Tim will tell you it's God who got him through fighting in Babylon. I once asked him, what's the weirdest, mind-blowing thing you ever had to do? He said, well, as a SEAL, it was realizing I was fighting a war in Babylon. As you've already discerned, Christianity is core to who Tim is, God, country, team on the bags. Now, the Bone Frog insignia itself is a representation of a fallen SEAL, and 10% of proceeds from Bone Frog Coffee always go to the Navy SEAL Foundation. And Tim has published a bag. It's a special roast, a special bag. It's called Golden Age. And it's to celebrate what Tim celebrated with me in text the day after the election. He wrote to me and said, we're getting our country back. Back from Marxists, back from people who are just seeking to destroy the souls and minds of kids, seeking to destroy families. The bag is beautiful. The roast is great. It's a specific time in a specific era of your life. So celebrate it. Go to bonefrogcoffee.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd to get 10% off all their products, 15% off subscription coffee. It's bonefrogcoffee.com/Todd. Here is a woman explaining why she broke up with a boyfriend that she considers conservative. And I think this could be an argument for arranged marriages.
Story time on how politics were in my last relationship. So let me set the scene for you. I was dating this guy. We'd been dating for 5 months. And in those 5 months, I was told by my friends, Zoe, he lives in Indiana. He's a Republican. I was like, politics don't matter to me. Boy, was I wrong. And so I was like, it's fine. I don't care. I'm going to get to know him first. We'll decide later. So then we kind of start talking about it. I'm a very liberal woman. So I am obviously very much everyone knows that I'm a liberal woman. My brother's gay. All my friends are gay. Also abortion rights.
Just maybe she's exaggerating that all her friends are same-sex attracted. But if so, that's a choice. And plenty of same-sex attracted people are absolutely delightful, wonderful, smart, caring, compassionate, patriotic human beings. But all your friends? That's a choice. Now, I get the feeling, and this could be me, and I could be wrong, I think she might be dramatic. I think there's a chance that she is playing a bit for the cameras. But then again, that could be me. Let's let her continue.
Female rights. But anyways, so I would like always ask him. I'd be like, what's your politics? Like, where do you lean? And he was just like, well, like socially, I'm a liberal, but economically, I'm a Republican.
Okay, so that doesn't happen. You can't be socially liberal and economically conservative. It doesn't exist. You can say you are, but you're not. Because if you're not socially so-called conservative, you can't be economically conservative. Because once you unmoor yourselves from certain truths or any truth, all of a sudden deficits and debts don't matter because just mint $1 trillion coin, go through the AOC route. The fiscal conservatism is eaten alive by liberalism because liberalism becomes very, very quickly no ruleism. All right, I'm going to shut up, let this lady finish because it's very, very important that you hear from her.
Also, he was a 28-year-old man. That's the first red flag because if there's a 28-year-old man and he's single, there's a reason that he's single. But anyways, so then I'm like...
Now, you do notice that I'm stopping this again, A, and B, it's politics that ruined her life. It's nothing to do with her. There is nothing here about her at all. Certainly, a man can't be 28 and single because he has been waiting for God to put in his life a godly woman. That couldn't be the case. I'm really, really committed to letting her finish.
Well, like what makes you, economically Republican? Because like I could give you a whole bunch of facts right now that prove that you shouldn't be. Yeah. And he was like, all of his info is from his friends. And I was like, you get all your information from your redneck friends. Obviously, you can't trust them. You need to do the research yourself. And if you do the research, I told him, I was like, I'll support you based on your decision if you actually research it yourself. Like, I won't care if you're a Republican. But anyways, and so he was like, Zoe, I have much better things to do than research politics. Like, I have way more important things to do. Ah! Okay, saying that to me is absolutely insane, but go off, King.
I can't anymore, so I'm going to stop. I've reached the breaking point. I literally can't even. An arranged marriage. Your parents know things about you. And his parents know things about him. And biology is real, and hormones are real, and physical attraction is real, and flirtation is real. That's all real. And you can be drawn into that, and that can feel really good. And your parents and friends can come along and go, so let's take stock here. This lady curses all the time. This lady issues declaratives like, all my friends are same-sex attracted, literally all of them. She might not be right for you from a perspective of maturity or from faith. And what do parents see in arranged marriages? I mean, there are the brutal, we're going to join our families together, and this power family has this power, and we have this power. And to me, that's all very, very brutal. But in a community where your parents with God-given wisdom or God-earned wisdom, fear of the Lord, beginning of wisdom, can see kids in a community. In the olden days when we lived in community, good, loving parents could look at their daughters and their sons and say they could complement each other in some really cool ways. He might have something she needs. She might have something he needs. And God puts us together in these ways to complement one another, to come under and lift up in ways that we both need. So in an arranged marriage sense, I think, quite honestly, any parent would probably look at that girl, I would think, and say, wow, she's deeply opinionated. She's right about everything. No problems she has in relationships stem from her at all. I think that's going to be a real big load to carry in a marriage. You may consider her pretty or attractive. There's the hormonal thing. All those things are real. But son, she seems like a load to carry. And her parents might say, why would you consider dating someone who on these issues that you consider sacrosanct, I mean, there she is hysterically screaming because this guy doesn't want to spend his time researching politics. And guess what? Many people have that view. God bless them. How about researching how to make their lives better, how they can serve, researching how their friends are doing, or building a life that's solid and predictable and bears fruit? And maybe those are the things you research rather than spending your time reading about something that you have very, very little capacity to change unless you go all in. But it can change you, and I fear that's changed her. So the argument in an arranged marriage on his side might be, wow, she's super committed to being right about everything. Nothing's ever her fault. You shouldn't do this. And to her, honey, you hate Republicans. You hate everything they stand for. Don't let hormones convince you you're not going to hate everything they stand for. In an arranged marriage sense, seeing kids, young people interacting together, don't you think that in an arranged marriage sense that the families might get together and go, I think our kids could be really good together. I think that they could be fruitful together, and that they would sit and pray about it? I mean, there's a reason that arranged marriages often work, oftentimes more than love marriages. Sometimes love is a force of will. Sometimes the decision to be loving towards your husband or your wife is a force of will. This is what we're taught in the Bible, that sometimes you love because God loved you first. Because anybody who's been in a long-term relationship, if they're honest with you, will tell you there's times of real struggle, times of monumental struggle. And successful marriages I've looked at with friends, and they've lasted a long time, has been, what did you do in the tough times? Remembered that I was serving Jesus. And by serving Jesus, that made me remember to serve my marriage. So an argument for arranged marriages in her case, maybe an argument for, well, I don't want to be judgmental, but growing up,